All right, how's it going? This is Jake from Converge, and you are listening to the New Scene podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the New Scene. I am your host, Keith, and we're back with another brand new episode. And on the show this week, we have the return of Harper Boyhtari of Greet Death. Greet Death just recently released their third LP via Death Wish Inc. It's called Die in Love. The record is excellent, the band is excellent, and this conversation is excellent. We dig deep into Die in Love. We talk about the making of the record. We talk about everything Greet Death has been up to since Harper was last on the show. We do a deep dive on Greet Death's creative process. We do a deep dive on their excellent video for Country Girl. And we discuss Harper's transition to Harper, which happened since the last time she was on the show. Harper was kind enough to share that story with us. It's an excellent conversation. And an excellent band. I love this band. Greet Death is the last new band obsession I had. I first heard them in 2021 when they posted the single for I Hate Everything. Shortly after that, I heard their 2019 LP, New Hell, and I've been obsessed ever since. The song You're Gonna Hate What You've Done, I must have listened to that 3 million times the first time I heard it. That song had a grip on me like nothing else in recent times. So if you still have not heard Greet Death, I highly encourage you to start today. I love everything they've done, and Die in Love is just another amazing addition to their discography. And I'm very excited that Harper is back on the show. It's an excellent conversation, and that's coming up shortly. But first, here's how you can support the New Scene. Rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a main channel with full video episodes and a clips channel with clips from select episodes. We have shirts for sale at our store at Death Wish Inc. Pick one up. It's a great way to support the show. And you can follow us on social media at New Scene Pod. Also, don't forget to support Iodine Recordings. The Casket Lottery just released another single from their upcoming LP called Feel the Teeth. The single is called Bell Penny. It just premiered over at Brooklyn Vegan, and they have a write-up over there as well. Go check it out. Feel the Teeth will be out August 30th. Drought will be performing at New Friends Fest in Toronto. That's August 1st through 3rd. They'll be sharing the stage with other great bands like On the Might of Princes, State Faults, and Snowing. Tickets are available now. Drought's debut LP, Souvenir, will be out July 18th. No Man just kicked off their European tour. Make sure you catch them if you're over there. And Casket Lottery will be performing their Feel the Teeth record release show August 30th at Record Bar in Kansas City, Missouri with the Appleseed Cast and Flooding. That's on August 30th, 2025. The new LP from Modern Life is War is called Life on the Moon. That's a dual release from Iodine Recordings and Death Wish Inc. It's up for pre-order right now. For more information, head to iodinerecordings.com. Sign up for the newsletter to get all the latest updates before everybody else, and you can follow the label on Instagram at Iodine Recordings. And say hello to our sponsor for the month of July, Evil Greed. In addition to their online store, Evil Greed offers tour merch, merch handling, and logistics services for tons of bands. They also offer merch and distribution solutions for bands and record labels in Europe and the UK. Evil Greed has a carefully selected roster of artists and labels in their online store. They offer very reasonable worldwide shipping rates specifically to the UK and the USA. So make sure you head to evilgreed.net. They've always got the latest merch, the latest updates, premiere records, all of that. Let's take a look. Drain is Your Friend, the new LP. You can pre-order that now. We've got new merch from Gulch, Nails, Speed, Blood Incantation, Drain, Sun, everybody. Even more new merch from Defeater, Wayside, Drug Church, Sun, more new merch from Sun. The record of the month is from Skinhead. It's a Beautiful Day. What a Beautiful Day. You can pick that up Featured music from Higher Power. Oh, Higher Power has a new LP coming out. There's Love in This World If You Want It. We've got featured music from Citizen, Everybody Is Going to Heaven. That's a 10-year anniversary edition. We've got featured music from Modern Life is War. Life on the Moon, you just heard me mention that earlier. Drain Is Your Friend, the highly anticipated new LP. You can pre-order that. We've got new music from Current 93. Poison the Well, the Poison the Well Trembling Level LP. That's a new song from Poison the Well. And there's another new song on that record that you can only get if you get the physical LP. There's all kinds of deals happening at Evil Greed all the time. Check out their essentials, check out their featured music, and check out all the merch at evilgreed.net. All right, so now we are going to speak to Harper Boyhtari of Greet Death. Enjoy. All right, we are here now with Harper Boyhtari. Harper, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It is good to be back.
It's great to have you back here. I've wanted to get you back here, and now is the perfect time because the third Greet Death LP, Die in Love, is coming out June 27th. I have heard in advance of it, and look, I don't want to spoil it for everybody, but definite top 10 record of the year for sure. If you love Greet Death, you're going to love the record, and we're going to talk about that and a bunch of other stuff. But Harper, let me ask you first, how are you doing today?
I am great. I was flying around my apartment doing a bunch of cleaning before this, so I'm pretty charged up. Yeah, I'm feeling good.
I like that. How often do you clean? All right. This is a horrible thing to admit, but I would say I do a full deep clean maybe once every 3 months, which is not enough. Now I don't let it get all roach infested and dishes and stuff piled up everywhere, but the floors are a little too dusty for my liking. How about you?
Yeah, I kind of, I'll let things slide for a second, but when the litter boxes are getting smelly, it's something's got to happen, or when the dishes are getting too high. I'm pretty I'm pretty activated a lot of the time, so I'm usually looking for something to do anyway. So cleaning is kind of a nice way to use some of that energy and also feel good about wiping away the filth, the stains, right?
And when everything is really clean, I mean really clean, it feels so good because I get on my hands and knees, I wipe banisters or, around the wall where the floor meets the wall, and I wipe everything down. I get behind entertainment centers and computers. Right. I really go for it.
You're digging in. It's also a great reminder too that everything is temporary because you're going to enjoy that moment of cleanliness and peace. And very soon it's all going to go back to the way it was, and you're going to have to do it all over again. So it's a great way to stay centered. And I don't know.
Yeah, it is. I like it. It can be a pain, but I like it too. Where do you live? Do you live in Chicago, or am I making that up?
I do. And last time we talked, I was in Chicago. So it's been 8 years.
8 years in Chicago. Do you like it?
Yeah, I love it. It's my place for now, I guess.
Were you doing bike messenger stuff last time I spoke to you for your job?
No, but when I moved here, I was doing car delivery stuff, which was awful because it was my first time in the city, and that was kind of how I learned to navigate it. It was delivering downtown. It sucked, but I think I was probably working at a music retailer doing call center stuff when we talked last time.
Okay, what are you doing now?
I cook in a kitchen, which is cool. Yeah.
Do you like it?
I do. It's my favorite job I've ever had. It was kind of something I stumbled into. I didn't really think I'd ever enjoy anything like that, but it's been so rewarding and so great. And I love my coworkers, and I can cook now. So
you learned to cook on the job. See, I was going to ask, is that something you wanted to get into or anything like that?
No, I just got fed up with my job at the call center. So I quit. And then it was right when everybody was going back to work from COVID. And then I needed a job. So I walked out the door and I walked down my street, and this restaurant in Chicago had a sign posting for dishwashers. So I was like, I could do that. So I walked in, did an on the spot interview. They hired me, and I washed dishes for a year. And then after that, I don't know, I was getting to know everybody, and they were great. And they were like, you want to try the line? And I did, but I was scared that I was going to embarrass myself and, suck at it. But yeah, it's just been the best job I've ever had in so many ways. And I'm very appreciative, and they're great with touring and stuff. So yeah, it's been life-changing, to be honest.
That's great. Yeah, I was going to ask how it works out with the touring schedule, and it sounds like good.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, I do good work when I'm there, and then, I don't know, like if they ever need to replace me, it's no skin off my back. Logan and I have both set up our lives where we work jobs that allow us to do what we do. That's kind of the trade-off, right? We're not doing any career stuff, so that we have the freedom to tour and play music and stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. I read a quote from Logan about like being a full-time musician, right? And he said it's not something he wants to do, and that I'm paraphrasing, but it's not something he's exactly looking to do. And a lot of full-time life for musicians just seem miserable. Is that your view on it? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about this too, me and him again, but I think the like problem with making music your full-time moneymaker is that you now put so much pressure on yourself for your art to deliver sustenance and like the money you need to survive. And I just don't think that's too much stress to put on your art, and it's going to create bad art. You're just going to feel pressure. When you have to put art out, that's not really like an organic way to operate. And I think that's probably why we've ran into some people that really don't seem very happy as career musicians, because I think the fun has been like sucked out of it, and I can't speak for everybody, but that's I think when we say that, and when Logan was saying that he has no interest in being a career musician, that doesn't mean that we're not trying to play music the rest of our lives and like keep doing it, but it's just, we're not trying to put the sole financial strain for our like survival on art, because I just don't think it's healthy or sustainable. I don't know, unless you get to a very Taylor Swift style level and you just got all the money you need. In that case, you don't need to make the music anyway, so same deal, right?
Right. Yeah, you reminded me of a couple other things he said, like, oh, that's why you see a band, they have 3 great albums, and then the rest are like, not so good. And yeah, I agree with you. I want to do it, but on my terms. I'm not going to make corny reels to pump out every day to keep my numbers up. I'm not going to write I'm not going to force creativity. At least I think the way I like to do it is I'll get struck with something, and then I have a blueprint for what I want to do. And there's no guarantee that's going to come every year, right, to meet the album cycle demands. So I want to do it on my terms, and I'm not financially bound by it either, so I can.
Yep. Yeah. I think having that freedom is imperative, because I don't know, like I think having a work ethic with your art is a good thing, but I don't know, having it like needing to force it out just doesn't feel good. So I don't know. And if we'll just keep working jobs, I don't care. Like, we're very happy working 9 to 5s or whatever and making art and going on tour when we do it. Like, it seems like a good life. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, that's it for me. That's all I want to do is those 2 things. Make money and make enough money to live and play as much as I can.
Yeah.
So Die in Love is coming out June 27th. I think this episode will be out by the time it comes out shortly after. So hopefully everybody's checking it out. This is the 3rd full length, and the last one came out in 2019, correct?
Yeah, the last full record.
Yeah. So it's been a little while. When did we start planning for Die in Love? When did we start writing for it? Like, tell us about the early genesis of it.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure Die in Love was like a concept pretty shortly after New Hell came out, and at least a couple of the songs were written before that record came out. So like Same But Different Now and Motherfucker, those are old songs. Like, we were playing those songs on the New Hell tours. So those songs are old, and the record, when those songs were written, we didn't have the concept fully, but those were definitely like foundational songs that we knew were going to go on the next record. But it took us a while to like write other stuff, and I don't think we felt very pressed to do it like in a rush or anything, because it's important to us to have a solid like concept and to have songs that make sense together. So, there were probably a bunch of songs that were written that we were like, no. And we also did the new Low EP, which was really supposed to be DLC for New Hell, as Logan likes to put it. That was like that was our quarantine project. And that ended up having more like life than we planned. So we just kind of rode that out while we finished. It just gave us some nice time to work on making sure Die in Love was good enough. Yeah.
Right. I love referring to the EP as DLC. I've never heard that before. That's amazing. So, when did the concept come to you? How? I've read that it's, there's a lot of personal stuff in it. I think you both dealt with some deaths in your lives and other things. Like, talk about the concept coming together and how.
Yeah, well, so far the record titles and concepts are Logan's doing. He's pretty good at like catching these phrases, these like passing phrases in life and kind of twisting them into like, a concept that we can riff on. So I don't know. He has a story about where he heard Die in Love, but his pitch was that it would be a record of love songs, but like done in our style, so inherently kind of tongue in cheek, but, also very genuine because I don't know, we've just been, the way I've been putting it is that like the first 2 or 3 records, they're mostly like internal reflections on like, depression and anxiety and like the monotony of just like doing this thing every day. So I think this is the first record where we have kind of an outward empathy toward other people, the people around us, having experienced some deaths in our families and some serious relationships that have caused a lot of personal growth, as well as personal strife. I think it's the first time we're using like the Greet Death lens to extend to things outside of ourselves. Also, so when he brought the concept to us, it just sounded very fun and like also hilarious. Because I love the idea that this band puts out a record of love songs. It's just kind of silly sounding, but there's love songs is kind of loose. There's definitely a wide range of subjects being talked about, different kinds of love and heartbreak and reflection.
Nice. Did you experience death in your family?
Yeah, my grandma died, and the same thing happened for Logan, but those 2 deaths affected us very differently. Because I think for Logan, it was a very life-changing blow. And for me, I've never really been close to any of my extended family. So like when it happened in my family, it didn't really faze me. I just was like, oh, it was going to happen, but, so I was reflecting on that. And I guess kind of the contrast between Logan's experience and mine. But also my dad's best friend, his lifelong best friend, also passed away several years ago. And that kind of makes its way into Emptiness is Everywhere, like that song. And I guess just all of this stuff put together made me think about, specifically that song is about like this idea of like either being disconnected from family, or I went to a couple weddings and had some, I don't know, experiences that apparently made me feel, I don't know, both alienated and, I don't know, kind of introspective about family, as kind of a bittersweet topic. And, I don't know, just like that song specifically is about kind of like the nuances of appreciating the people around you while they're here and grappling with like, maybe you don't feel compelled to do that, or maybe that isn't the best thing for you, or like, just the paradox of like, you're going to lose everybody. Do you appreciate them? Are you interested in appreciated? Do they appreciate you? I don't know. I'm not being very succinct about this, but yeah.
With family especially, I think that's tricky territory because there's a lot of history with family. It's a different dynamic. And it's something I think about a lot. I'm like, I should visit home more, but I'm busy with this and I have to live my own life, and maybe there's things I don't want to address, and maybe there's things that I want to talk about that can't be talked about. There's just, without like pouring through the depths of the family history, there's a lot of stuff, right? Like, do you feel that?
Yeah, but that kind of stuff isn't like talked about in my family, and my family doesn't like, I wasn't really able to foster any kind of relationship with extended family when I was a kid. And some of that's on me, and some of that is on just like, I guess I've always felt like the people in my family like never showed much interest in me. So like, why would I go out of my way to do the same? I don't know. My family's kind of weird and like uh, sectioned off. Logan is definitely has like a closer relationship with different members of his family and like a more complex relationship. But I think that's why in that song, Emptiness, I was trying to almost write in a way that Logan would, but about my experience and kind of how alienated I feel, and how I like don't really feel connected, but maybe I should try, maybe it's not worth it. Um, and then like just seeing like my dad go through losing somebody very close to him who was also in his band. It was like the lead singer in his band. So yeah, I don't know. Just there's a lot going on there. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did. Your dad plays too? He's in a band?
Yeah, he plays bass, which is why I started playing bass when I was 12 or 11 or something.
And he still plays?
He does. Yeah, he's still playing with that band, and then he just started playing in like a cover band, which I love for him because it's just like chill fun that he doesn't have to stress out about.
I like that. How did you make your way to guitar?
I have always played guitar, like besides bass. And like it's just like I can't write songs on bass, and I started wanting to be able to express myself just on guitar as a singer, as a guitar player, as a songwriter. So yeah, when Jackie got called into the band, and Logan knew that I was trying to move to guitar and wanted that to happen, so we were kind of just as soon as it fell into place, that's how it went down. Because once that happened, it was easier for me to bring guitar parts and songs to the band, and just like we had another member, and it was just easier.
Yeah, I started on bass but I was always ambitious. I wanted to be on guitar, and then I wanted to sing, and then I wanted to write and all that stuff. So it was just a long, slow path to making my way through all of that.
Yeah, I had a similar experience trying to learn Smashing Pumpkins songs and I don't know, Death Cab for Cutie songs and stuff like that.
Yeah. That little opening lick in Today, I think that's the first thing I ever learned to play. So okay, I'll still play that to this day.
I think the first thing I learned for some reason, well, I don't know, it was probably something with Logan, but the first memory I have is my bass teacher teaching me how to play the fucking slap Red Hot Chili Peppers slap part in Higher Ground, which is so funny. So that unfortunately is the first thing I learned how to play, but we got out of there. We got out of that territory pretty quickly.
That's right. Yeah, Greet Death went through variations over the years while you were locking in on your sound, right? You just jogged my memory. I think you remember saying that it was kind of a funk band at one point.
It started off as a surf rock indie band, but we did have a terrible like funk jam thing that was kind of before that, where we just were jamming and like doing bullshit like Grateful Dead style shit, and it was pretty bad, but it did teach us, Logan and I and our first drummer Anthony, it definitely gave us more synergy and like helped us to like read each other better. So I think it ended up helping us, but it was pretty awful.
Yeah. How do you and Logan write typically? And was it different for Die in Love? Like, I think I read that you wrote more as a band, like a band unit for Die in Love.
Yeah, what we did more for Die in Love was we wrote on the road more, like during sound checks when we had the full band together. And also we had added Rick. So there's more people in the band. There's more more happening. So we would just, if Logan had an idea, he would start playing it at a sound check, and then everybody would just join in and we would riff on it. And then like Logan would record that on his phone, and then we would all be like, if it was cool, we'd be like, all right, let's pocket that and work on it tomorrow at the next sound check. But the writing itself, like Logan and I still write separately, as far as our ideas. So, most of my ideas, like I don't ever have a guitar part that I want to jam out with the band. Logan will do that. But usually, Logan and I write self-contained and then bring it to the group. But yeah, I think the song August Underground was like a sound check jam that ended up being something. I could be wrong on that, but I know we like practiced it at sound check and then we tried to play it one night and it probably sounded a little different, but yeah, so a little bit of a mix. But yeah, there's definitely more live like in-person writing of parts on this record than I think there's ever been in that regard.
When if you and Logan are writing separately, will you come together and say like, here's what I have and here's what I have, and push it together and make a song? Or will he be like, oh, you can sing this part on my song? Like, what are the different ways that it shakes out?
It depends. It can go a couple different ways. Most of the time, so we're probably going to start with phone demos. And, if I have an idea, I'm going to phone demo it on like a memo. And then what I've been doing is uploading it to a Google Drive folder. And then I'll either tell everybody like, hey, I have an idea in there. Or I'll just wait until I feel like showing them. We haven't gotten together to like write in a while. So I think when we decide it's time to start doing that again, then I'll be like, okay, these are my ideas and we'll get together whenever and I'll show you the ones I think are strongest. Logan, a lot of the times he likes to play us his memos on tour in the van. He'll just put one on and then we'll listen to it and it's probably cool. And we're going to be like, that's fucking cool. And he'll be like, yeah, it might be something there, and then, yeah, we might work on it at a sound check. Also, sometimes I'll sound check with like an idea and then they'll hear it and be like, oh, what was that? And I'll be like, it's something I'm working on. So I think we kind of plant seeds, like subtly. And that way, just over time, we kind of know, okay, y'all have some ideas to work on. If Logan and I end up singing, like trading and singing each other's parts, that usually happens if Logan or I are like, I don't know, like I don't really like the way I sound on this part, or it's like I don't know what to write for this part. Like I don't know, like You're Gonna Hate What You've Done, I wrote that second verse because he was like, I don't really know what else to write, and I was like, okay, let me see what I've got. Or the bridge thing in Motherfucker where I start to sing, that was actually, he wrote most of that and sang it initially, and then I think he was like, I think I want you to sing this part. It's all about feel. And I think if we feel like maybe we want to do some trading, or like maybe I'm struggling with writing a vocal part, you give the other person a shot, and then that will probably end up being their part. But there's no like rule, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it always happens in different ways, right? Like sometimes I'll write almost a whole song. Sometimes I only have a riff or a verse and a chorus. And I'm always bad at bridges and endings, so I always ask my rhythm section to help me structure the song and have a transitory piece from chorus to ending. So it just works out in different ways, right?
Yeah, those are the parts that I bring to the band too. Like usually I have like the main structural shit, but I feel like I always need them to help me make songs like more interesting. I'm good with melodies, I'm good with structure kind of, but yeah, usually I'm like 70% of the way there, and I need Jim to come up with the drum part that's going to like make the song, or like Logan to write the guitar part that's going to make the song, or like, something like that. So I relate to that.
So I've also read in interviews, there was somewhat of a focus on being less negative, right? Because like I read that Logan felt conflicted about certain songs because it was, I don't know, it was just putting this negative message out there and you're singing that to people night after night, and it could create this weird dynamic. Do you feel that way at all about any of your band's music?
In some ways. I mean, I think I've always felt like through whatever difficult subjects we're communicating about, there really is supposed to be the energy is at least supposed to be hopeful, because the kind of art and the kind of music that we gravitate to is like songs that make us feel like someone is hearing us, right? Like somebody understands how we're feeling, and so we feel less alone, and there's community in that. And so for me, even in the gnarly songs like I Hate Everything or whatever, it's like there's like fanfare in being able to come together and voicing that feeling, that emotion. And the songs themselves are like, it's just music and art is just a way to kind of contextualize and translate what you're feeling, what you're struggling with, whatever you're suffering through. And so I think there's a lot of power in, that's the power of, sorry, that sounds so corny, but the power of music and art for me is like the feeling less alienated and inspired through it. So I don't know if I always feel that same negativity, but I definitely think that, on that in that vein, I don't know if there was like a conscious effort to be less negative. Like I'm pretty sure there was not. And there's definitely still a lot of struggle happening on Die in Love, but it is more, the music is more hopeful than it's ever been. And I think that does come with this idea that we're trying to be more, we have more empathy for the people around us. It probably has something to do with people coming up to us on tour or hitting us up in Instagram DMs and just telling us about our music and what it means to them and what it's helped them through, or like asking us about, I don't know, something related to that topic. Somebody, we were doing another interview recently, Logan and I, and the interviewer asked us what it felt like to be kind of like a parasocial therapist, is how they put it. And yeah, I don't know. It is weird. But I think, seeing how art and music can impact people in a positive way and make a difference has definitely like left its mark on us. And yeah, I think the idea is that if we can, if art can help people like that, if we can be a part of that and like whatever, like help somebody out with something they're going through, I think that's one of the higher callings you can have as an artist. So
Yeah, I feel that too. I used to really struggle with alcohol and drugs, and then I got sober, and I've been that way for a while, and I'm still involved in in a recovery community. So that was the first step towards getting away from a lot of negativity and just hating everything, and I don't know, a lot of bad feelings that I was dealing with, right? So there's that has made me a lot more empathetic and open. But also this podcast, because it has a therapeutic slant to it a lot of the times. And I've corresponded with a lot of people who've said that the show has helped them or in some way. And that has made me more empathetic and open too. So I can see what you're saying. Like once you start to hear these things, you're like, oh, something I'm doing is actually affecting people in a positive way. That's wild.
yeah, and I think like what Logan was talking about too is that once you've been like made aware of this, and once you're in that position, the idea of just, I don't necessarily feel like this, but like all the time, but the idea that you're only spouting like negativity to a group of people that are being impacted by something you're saying, like I can understand that wearing on you, and I get that. But yeah, I think the message of the music has never been to feel hopeless. And I guess more than ever, I think we're finding ways to like put hope into what we're doing. But obviously, I don't know. Logan and I have a lot of distaste for like art and music that is like painfully optimistic. So you're never going to hear like a, Here Comes the Sun type bullshit. I guess it's ironic that I referenced that song, but like, you're never going to hear some bullshit. Like there's always going to be truth and like real shit. I'm not interested in writing about pure optimism.
No, I definitely am not either, because what you said when you were talking about the music and I hate everything, it is exactly what made me resonate with it so deeply in the first place. That song, when that single first went up, that was the first time I ever heard the band and ever
Oh,
heard
okay.
of the band. And it struck me in such a powerful way, and it still does every time I listen to it, because it just spoke to me and connected with me in a way that no other song really has. Because I don't know, it's a different style. It's a different style than I expected from Death Wish, and there's just this. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I don't relate to every single word in the song in every situation. But there's just this. There's just this thing that speaks to me in a way that I have never felt before. Because I can be pretty cynical. I can be pretty negative. It doesn't rule my entire life. I don't walk around and say everything sucks and I hate everything anymore. But there is a catharsis, there is a connection in that, in being like, wow, somebody else feels the same way I do. Like someone else is feeling this thing. And there is comfort in that.
Yeah, and that's also um like that song, that's like a place to put that feeling, and that's what it was for me. It was for whatever I was feeling at that time. There was so much hopelessness and just so much, internal anguish happening. And so I mean, I don't know, I think you have to put that somewhere, or else it's just going to fester. And so as a whatever, that's what I did. I put it there. And I think when I was putting it there, what I was thinking about was just like whatever other songs I have heard that have felt like, they're giving a place for a feeling that I feel and making me feel less alone about it. That's kind of what I did with that song. And so hopefully, yeah, I mean, like you're saying, I think a song like that, as a listener too, it's like there's a place for that. Even just listening to it, maybe that's a way to let it out as well for a listener. Yeah.
Big time, because not everybody plays, right? We're in a rare situation. I don't know if it's like this for you, but I'm probably the most personal in lyrics to a degree, because that's one place where I can put everything, because it's kind of shrouded and I'm kind of saying everything, but I'm kind of not. So it's all there, and I can just be really honest. I can really put it all out there in a way that I don't anywhere else. And I love that, but not everybody has that, right? Because not everybody is in a band, and not everybody plays, and not everybody writes songs.
Yeah, I think it's very fortunate to be able to have a way to translate those feelings. And yeah, I'm with you. I think being able to communicate thoughts like that and feelings in a way where it also sounds pretty and you can feel good about it, because you're taking something that could be negative or that you just don't understand, and you're turning it into something uh like gorgeous, if that's what you're into, like me, and just satisfying, and you're giving it a home. And there's like a closure in that. I think every song that I write, at least that I feel good about, it's like closing the book on that moment, that snapshot of whatever I'm feeling, and then I have it forever. So reliving it for me is just like kind of breathing that sigh, especially that song. It's kind of breathing that sigh of relief of like, there's a home for this feeling now, and there's like a victory in that for me. So
Yeah. Also, when I heard that song, I was simultaneously going through one of the worst periods of my life ever. So I was like,
heard.
perfect. This is the perfect song for that. So I'll always think about that time and then be like, well, I'm glad I'm not there anymore.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry for that period of your life, but I guess, yeah, it's nice to have a pin on it, right?
Right. Die in Love recorded in your parents' basement. Is that true?
It was actually in the living room upstairs. We did some mixing in the basement, but there was some kind of like miscommunication there. But yeah, basement, living room. Basement sounds cooler. Actually, I think Logan said basement sounds cooler, so let's go with that. But no, yeah, we kind of took over the whole house, and my parents were cool about it because we've been playing music there my whole life. So um, yeah, it's kind of funny to go back there and do that record that way.
How do you bring in studio equipment? Are you recording live? How loud is it? Like, tell us about the process.
Yeah, so Jackie recorded New Low, And she's like a very talented engineer. So we knew we wanted Jackie to do it. We just didn't know where. And so I think kind of in a spur of the moment decision, we were like, let's just go to my parents' house if they're cool with it. And there's a living room where the ceiling is super high, so it's good for drums. And yeah, the drum sound was very important to us, that we get the drum sound that we were looking for. So we set up in the living room in like a circle, and then we had Jackie bring all her recording studio equipment, monitors, and cables and whatever you use to make a record, microphones. And we played live in the same room with headphones, and we had all the amps and the cabs were in different rooms in the house. The bass cab was downstairs in the basement. The 2 guitar cabs were in these upstairs bedrooms, so there were just cables running all over the house. And then it was all coming through the headphones. But we played live. Everything was tracked live. Mainly for the drums, we did live tracking to get the drums live, and then everything else was tracked on top of it. But every song was played live with Jim, because we really wanted to make sure we got like the live feel, which we've done kind of for the past few records, but that was the most like live we've ever done it. That sounds really stupid, but yeah, we did it really live, and that's how we did it. And it was the most live we've ever done it, but that's how it went down. And then we did overdubs like in the basement and in the living room, and acoustics in the living room. And
I love that. Do you play to a click at all, or is it just all live? We're going in time with the drummer.
I'm pretty sure we did a click for Jim. Jim played to a click. So yeah, because just so the tempo would be steady. I think we've done it both ways in the past. Click sometimes, not click. I'm pretty sure we used a click just for Jim, and then we just played to him, so that not everybody was playing to a click in a rigid way, but Jim just had that solid whatever tempo, and then we could kind of express ourselves however we were going to around him.
Yeah, because I have mixed feelings about it. I've done it every which way. I've recorded to a click, I've recorded not to a click, I've played live to a click, I've played live not to a click. And I think for the studio, what you did is what you want to do, at least for some of the time, right? So just so that it's a steady tempo.
Yeah. I don't personally mind hearing weird tempo shifts in recordings, but I don't know. It's nice to have it be consistent.
The recording, I was a little surprised when I read that it was recorded in your parents' basement, because when you hear that, you're like, uh-oh, this is either really good or really bad. But Jackie must be really talented, because the recording quality is amazing. I mean, the production is amazing. Everything about the album is amazing. Great work.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, she's crazy. She's so good. So I am really glad we did it the way we did, because I think it led to the kind of record we wanted to make. Still kind of raw and blown out, but it doesn't sound like a demo or anything. Still
Not at all. Not at all.
punch.
It's the next logical step in the world of Greet Death. It's not super light. It's not super heavy all the time, but I think the songwriting is stronger than ever. It's just the next natural evolution, and I'm going to speak for everyone. It's what we want.
Okay. This is good to hear. Thanks for representing the people.
I have to. The video for Country Girl, I love too. There's like a bleak suburban liminal vibe to it, which is an aesthetic that I really, really love. How did the concept come together?
I just wanted there to be, we've done a couple music videos, but they're pretty like low key, and just VHS style. And I just I didn't really think I would end up being this person, but I've just wanted to try to have a legit, I guess more pristine looking music video to kind of add more fanfare to the release. I keep using that word. And especially for the song is so special to me. And I just really wanted to have something else to kind of go with it. But I really, it was a spur of the moment thing. I woke up one day in September last year, and I just had this idea for what the beginning would be, which was that shot of me opening my eyes when the drums kick in, And then I have the contacts and the blackout eyes. And that was what I woke up to, this idea of it being like a possession. It was just in my head. And I was like, oh, I think I know what I want to do. So I told my partner, and they were like, that sounds really cool. And they helped me write the whole thing. We co-wrote it together. I kind of had like fragments of a story, and they really helped me fully write it out, put it together. We went to some coffee shops and sketched it out. And then we have a friend here that has a filming business. I don't know what you'd call it. So we knew we wanted, and I'd seen a video she did, Kelly, Chromatone Studios. And I was like, oh, I want her to do it. That was what I knew that morning. I had the image of me opening my eyes when the drums kick in, and I knew that I wanted Kelly to do it. So yeah, I hit her up and we had a couple meetings, and then we filmed in December, right before a tour in the dead of winter. And then, yeah, it got edited. We had a couple editing sessions, and that was that.
Nice. So it sounds like a pretty internal project, just the band and your friends.
Yeah. And, Logan just showed up. I was like, hey, I texted him and I was like, I think I have a idea for a music video and I know it's good. Do you trust me to run with it? And he was like, yeah, go for it. So he really was a good sport, just showing up and playing along, because he really didn't know what he was going to be doing until we started shooting. Other than that, he was going to play a priest, and I was going to be like a possessed Linda Blair style girl. So yeah,
that's funny. It's like, don't show up dressed as a priest and trust me. Okay.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I briefed him a little bit more than that, but essentially he was down and he was good about it. So, it was really fun. I mean, it was like the most fulfilling thing I've ever gotten to do was make that music video. And I'm so ecstatic about how it came out. And it's launched my partner into even more of that stuff. They're going to do it even more now. And I'd like to do it more too, but it was a very inspiring experience for both of us.
That's great. Yeah. Because, I imagined a big production budget and like Death Wish getting some filmmakers to help you out, because it looks great. The color schemes and everything, it looks super pro.
Yeah, that's all Kelly and Kelly's partner, Ben, just power duoing some cameras and some storyboard shit. She storyboarded it all out in this program, and it looked crazy and had all these shot lists, and yeah, it was great. Just good team. We had a lot of fun doing it.
How long did the whole thing take to shoot?
We did it in 3 days, which was crazy, but because we went to so many different places in my hometown. That was also, the bedroom is my parents' house. There was and then the Logan walking up, all the house stuff is my parents' house. So the house you see in that video is where we recorded the record. Yeah. So the bedroom, there was a guitar amp in there. Yeah. So we just went home to where I grew up and went to the town where I went to school to do the street shot, went to a gas station, stuff like that.
Was that a nod to Halloween when you stepped behind the tree?
Yeah. There's several homage shots in the video, and that specifically was supposed to be a recreation of that. Yeah.
Good. I think that's my favorite scene, when he steps behind the bush and then is gone. It's just so creepy. It just always stays with me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a fun one, and I thought it would be funny to do the talking between me and Logan, like you have between Laurie Strode and her friend in the movie. It was just fun. And then the Nightmare on Elm Street sheet scene that we were able to do was really fun, and the outside the house exorcist shot where we somehow got the fog machines to actually fill the air with fog. I don't know how we did that, but Kelly found a way.
Can we talk about your transition to Harper? Are you okay talking about that?
Yeah, let's go for it.
How long had you been thinking about that? I remember seeing the announcement online. How long had you been thinking about that? And just explain how you knew and what you wanted to do.
Not very long, but also a long time without knowing it. I think there was a tour we did in July or something, 2023, or June, I don't know. that year, 2023, I'd been having a lot of like conflicting feelings about myself and the relationship I was in. And it all kind of came to a head on this tour that I did. We did. It was just like a DIY tour, and we were just doing like bars and a couple of houses and stuff. And I remember I had a call with the person I was dating then, and we had a lot of back and forth conversations about why I was feeling so alienated from myself or my body, or a lot of different struggles that were making having a relationship very hard, because I wasn't very present, and I don't know, I just felt very, very like alienated and like unconventional from how I thought I was supposed to be acting as someone's boyfriend or whatever, or feeling. But anyway, so we were on this tour, and we were playing in where was it? Fargo, North Dakota, in this tiny like upstairs room that was like living room sized. Anyway, so I played that show, but before I played it, I was on the phone with the person I was dating, and we were just talking about this again, and my feelings. And that person had asked me like a couple times, like, do you think you're trans? Do you think you're trans? And every time I was like, there's no, absolutely not. Like, I know that. I can say that for sure, And so we were talking about that again on this phone call. And at this point, though, I was like, she asked me again, and I was like, I don't know. And, she was like, okay, well, you've got to figure it out and let me know and whatever. So we did this show. We went back to our hotel room. And then we're getting ready for bed. Everybody's going to bed. I lay down to go to bed, and everybody's falling asleep. And for some reason, I'm just laying there staring at the ceiling and thinking about something. I don't know. And for some reason in that moment, I figured it out, I guess. I started crying, and I was trying to hide the fact that I was crying from my sleeping bandmates. But I knew in that moment that it was true, and that I was trans, and that was like a real thing for me. And yeah, that was kind of my turning point. And after that, I knew that I had to take it seriously, because there was no more running from things that I'd been feeling my whole life. Like, I don't know, like, why did I feel weird and alienated about my body? Why did I want to dress differently? Why did I relate to, girls and women more on certain things? Why did I feel so weird about intimacy and using my body? And there's so many things that, like, for some reason, it just never occurred to me. I was always like, and despite the fact that I had like queer and trans friends, and like at the end having trans friends who just like became close to me and became I don't know, like bandmates in some cases, or just very inspiring to me. I think it like helped me understand like what I was feeling, even if it was just subconsciously. But yeah, I always thought like, I just had that thought of like, oh, I see that in other people, but like it couldn't be me, right? And like there's some internalized transphobia going on there for sure. Anyway, this is a long wound tale, but yeah, that's kind of the story of like how I figured it out. Yeah.
Are you happier now? Do you feel more comfortable? Do you feel more you now?
Yeah, it's amazing how life-changing it has been. And so many trans people will tell you this, but like I've just had I've had so many issues questioning everything in my life, whether what I'm doing is right, whether what I'm doing is like good or bad. Or I recently found out that I have OCD, so I have a lot of issues trusting things and like whatever. I haven't doubted my transition for a moment. Every single day, I just feel it really brought a profound peace to my life that I know is what I've been like looking for, and like why I've been so unhappy for so long. So yeah, I just feel so thankful and fortunate to have figured it out, and that I get to, continue being who I am and figuring it out. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'm glad. Has it been difficult in your personal life or for the band at all?
No. I mean, everybody in my life is just like so overwhelmingly supportive. I actually came out to the band while we were recording Die in Love. We were like eating dinner after one of the recording nights, and I came out. I was like, guys, I have something to tell you. I'm a little nervous, and they were like, okay. And yeah, I just I told them at that point I came home from that tour. My then partner and I broke up, and I very quickly made an appointment to start hormones, so that by the time everybody does this differently depending on how you feel, but I was on hormones for a couple months before I came out to like my family and my friends. For some reason, that's just how I wanted to do it. Some people transition socially first, some people do it medically, some people wait however long. But yeah, for me, I was like, let me start these hormones, and like then what I'll tell people is that I've been on hormones for a couple months, and this is what's going down with me. And yeah, I don't know. My family's been great. My friends, my coworkers. Obviously, it's a scary time in the world and in this country to be queer, to be trans, to be non-normative. That's obviously scary. I'm scared about going on tour, but I don't know. We just have to support each other and keep doing our best and try to fight back. And I think that's like the biggest contributor towards like conflict or fear, because everybody in my life has been wonderful.
I'm glad because it's a tough thing. I didn't go through what you're going through and what you're in, but I've had my own things in my life where it's like a long time ago when I went away to detox, like I had to admit that I really had a problem, and like I couldn't lie anymore. And I remember texting my group chat and being like, hey, I'm doing this for like some accountability, right? Because I'm like, I can't just go away and come back. And then in recovery, working through the steps, you dig into your past and dig into all the stuff that I've been trying to run away from and bury all the time. But even in terms of like gender normative stuff and all of that, at least you can talk about it now. Because when growing up in the 80s, with my family, you didn't talk about anything. And if you expressed any emotion or tried to talk about something, it was like, whatever, go to school. There's nowhere to turn, right? So imagine in the 80s saying like, hey, I don't necessarily identify with the jock male normative guys in my school. Like, what can I do? It'd be like, what are you talking about? But yeah, it can be tricky because, for me, like there's parts of me that where I feel very cis male, like typical, like I need to be respected and I need this and I need that. But then there's parts where it's like, in a lot of cases, I like talking to women better, or I feel more comfortable around them. So, and then there's pressures of society on top of that. So I don't know what I'm saying exactly, except to say that things are very complicated, and I'm glad that you seem to be happier and more comfortable with you.
Yeah, I don't know. Especially as being socialized as like a man comes with a lot of expectations to programming that you will internalize your feelings, and that you shouldn't need anything, you shouldn't pay attention to your feelings. And that's certainly something that, and I'm sure for you too, like that kept me from getting help for a long time, that helped me from taking my feelings seriously, and that stopped me from considering why I was unhappy in general, and that I might not be who I needed to be or who I wanted to be. And I guess just like, I don't know. Yeah. So I'm still unlearning those same behaviors of really trying to just take my emotions seriously and give them credence, and take other people's emotions seriously too, because we all have needs. And I think discovering more empathy, getting more in touch with my feelings has been one of the greatest like privileges for me with transitioning and becoming more my true self so far. So I'm very, very grateful to be feeling more these days, and to be crying more. Frankly,
That's good. Yeah, that's one I struggle with a lot, because I'm like, oh, I can't be so emotional, and I can't admit that things hurt me. And so I like try to be really nonchalant, and I can't do it. I'm too honest. I want to talk about things. I want to talk about when I'm hurt, or I don't know. I want to get it out there. So it's a daily struggle, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, otherwise it's going to fester and you're just going to have so much poison inside you, because you're just ignoring things you need, and that's not good.
Right. Do you still game?
I do. I know last time we talked, we were talking about like streaming and fighting games. I do want to get back to streaming. I stopped doing it because I had to figure out my whole transition and stuff. And, I didn't know what I wanted to, what I was going to look like, I didn't feel comfortable kind of being that kind of, being present in that way until I figured it out. But, yeah, I do want to get back to the streaming and like content stuff. And yeah, video games are always, it's just such a essential part of like how I relax and have fun. So I do. Lately, I've also been playing a lot of Magic the Gathering with my partner, which is not something I was into before, but we're both very deeply invested, and we play like every day now. So actually, that's been the majority of what has been occupying my time this year.
I love that. Yeah, you actually inspired me last time you were on the show. I started a whole separate gaming channel. I was doing YouTube videos. I think I was already doing reels, and I was like trying to stream on Twitch more. And I found that I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I hate sitting there and narrating while I'm playing a game. I hate talking to nobody when nobody's in the stream and you have to keep talking. I hate suffering through games. I hate exporting it to YouTube. I hate like messing up and I have to start over the whole intro again. I absolutely hated it, and it was starting to make me hate video games. So I stopped, because gaming is the one thing left in my life that's just pure, let's unplug and have fun. And I don't game nearly as much as I used to, because life is just way busier now. But I can, and my girlfriend is into gaming now, which is great. So she'll be in the living room playing PS5, and I'll be online playing like original community online Doom with other people. Nice. And it's a nice separate thing going on.
Well, good. Sometimes giving up on something because it's not good for you is like the most powerful thing you can do. There's been several moments in my life where quitting something was actually like the best decision I've ever made. So honestly, nobody should do anything that they're not having fun with. And I think especially if you're, I don't know, I think we have a tendency to make ourselves suffer through things because we think we have to, but like you don't have to. You can just quit. I don't know.
Exactly. We're beholden to nobody. So tell us what's coming up for Greet Death. We know we have the new album out on June 27th. Any tours that we can announce? Anything coming up?
Yeah, after the album comes out, we're doing a support tour for the band Nation of Language in September, I think. It's just like a couple weeks. And then that's like East Coast stuff. And then we're doing a West Coast headliner for the shows we're not hitting there. And I don't think the West Coast headliner's announced yet. The support tour is, but it'll go through all those areas. And then I assume that's probably going to be it for like the rest of this year. But I assume next year we're going to hit it pretty hard again. So yeah, we'll probably be pretty busy going everywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to, and I'm looking forward to seeing the band again, because I only caught you once, and when was that? 2022 maybe?
Yeah, somewhere around there. The Foxing show in New York.
Yes, that was the one. Yeah, and I need to see you again, because seeing the band live just made me love it even more. And I just want to say thanks so much for coming back on the show. I love the band a lot. The new record is excellent. You should be proud, and thank you. This was great.
Thank you. Thank you so much.